With the race to make drivers enjoy driving supercars, what happens when Ferrari's engineers decide that 769 horsepower from a twin-turbo V8 just isn't enough? They add 3 electric motors and create something that redefines what instant power actually means. Welcome to the world of the Ferrari SF90 Stradale, where electricity doesn't replace the roar of a V8, it makes it even more thrilling. Here's something wild to think about. For over 7 decades, Ferrari built its reputation on one thing: pure, screaming combustion engines. The sound, the fury, the soul of Italian racing. Then they dropped the SF90 and suddenly the game changed completely. You see, Ferrari didn't just slap some electric motors onto a traditional sports car and call it a day. They looked at hybrid technology the same way they approach racing, as a tool to go faster, not just to save fuel. And that mindset makes all the difference in the world. The SF90 isn't apologizing for being a hybrid, it's celebrating it. And when you understand how those 217 electric horses work with the V8, you'll see why this car is nothing short of brilliant. Let's talk numbers for a second because these figures are absolutely bonkers. At the core sits a 4.0-liter twin-turbocharged V8 engine that cranks out 769 horsepower on its own. That's already more powerful than any V8 Ferrari has ever built. We're talking about an engine that spins to 8,000 RPM and delivers 590 pound-feet of torque. This isn't some economy car motor. This is a racing-bred power plant that could make most supercars jealous all by itself. But Ferrari wasn't satisfied. They added 3 electric motors that collectively produce 217 horsepower. 2 of these motors sit on the front axle, one for each wheel. The third one is sandwiched right between the engine and the transmission. When you add it all up, you get 986 horsepower. That's basically 1,000 horsepower of fury waiting to be unleashed. Now here's where it gets really interesting, and this is the part that makes the SF90 special. Those electric motors don't just add power, they add instant, immediate torque, the kind of thrust that combustion engines simply cannot deliver at low speeds. Think about how a traditional gasoline engine works for a moment. When you press the accelerator, the engine needs to rev up, build boost from the turbochargers, and then deliver power. Even in the most powerful supercars, there's a tiny delay, a split second where you're waiting for everything to come together. Electric motors? They don't wait for anything. Electric motors deliver maximum torque at 0 RPM. That means the instant, and I mean the very instant you touch the accelerator, all 217 electric horses are already pushing you forward with everything they've got. No lag, no waiting, no buildup, just immediate explosive acceleration. This is why the SF90 can rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 2.5 seconds according to Ferrari. But here's something even crazier. When tested in the real world, one SF90 hit 60 miles per hour in just 2.0 seconds flat. That's not a typo, 2 seconds. From a standstill to highway speed, faster than you can say Prancing Horse. And get this, it can reach 124 miles per hour in only 6.7 seconds. Most regular cars can't even get to 60 miles per hour in that time. Here's where Ferrari's racing DNA really shines through. Those 3 electric motors aren't just throwing power at the wheels randomly. They're working together in perfect harmony, managed by incredibly sophisticated computer systems that make decisions hundreds of times per second. The 2 front motors create what Ferrari calls the RAC-e system, which stands for Rotation Axis Control Electric. These motors can independently control each front wheel, which means they can send different amounts of power to the left and right wheels depending on what the car needs at any given moment. Imagine you're coming out of a tight corner. The inside wheel needs less power, the outside wheel needs more. The RAC-e system handles this automatically, giving you perfect torque vectoring that helps you exit corners faster and with more control. It's like having an invisible racing driver helping you find the perfect line through every turn. The third motor, the MGUK, Motor Generator Unit Kinetic, sits between the engine and the new 8-speed dual-clutch transmission. This motor does double duty. During acceleration, it fills in power during those tiny moments when the transmission is shifting gears, which happens in just 200 milliseconds. During braking, it works as a generator, capturing energy and sending it back to the battery. This is the same technology Ferrari uses in Formula 1 racing. They've taken what they learned on the track and brought it to a car you can actually drive on the street. Here's something historic. The SF90 is the first mid-engine Ferrari to feature all-wheel drive. For a company that built its reputation on rear-wheel drive sports cars, this is a massive change. But it makes perfect sense when you think about it. With nearly 1,000 horsepower on tap, two wheels alone simply can't handle all that power without spinning uselessly. By putting electric motors on the front wheels, Ferrari created an intelligent all-wheel drive system that only engages when needed. When you're cruising normally or driving in a straight line, the SF90 behaves like a traditional rear-wheel drive Ferrari. But the moment you demand full power or enter a corner, those front motors wake up and provide exactly the amount of traction needed to keep you planted and accelerating hard. The result? Grip that feels almost supernatural. Traction that lets you deploy all 986 horses on regular roads without drama. And acceleration that makes you recalibrate your entire understanding of what fast means. The SF90 gives you 4 distinct personalities to choose from, controlled by buttons on the steering wheel. E-Drive mode turns the SF90 into a purely electric vehicle. The V8 engine stays completely off and you cruise silently on battery power alone. You can travel up to 15 miles this way, reaching speeds up to 84 miles per hour before the engine needs to kick in. This might sound pointless in a Ferrari, but think about it. You can leave your neighborhood early in the morning without waking everyone up. You can navigate city streets without attracting attention. And when you arrive at a fancy restaurant, you can glide into the parking lot like a whisper instead of a thunderstorm. Hybrid mode is the default setting and the smartest mode for everyday driving. The onboard computer constantly monitors your driving and makes real-time decisions about when to use the electric motors, when to run the V8, and when to combine both. It might turn off the engine completely during light driving to save fuel, then instantly fire it back up when you need full power. It's like having a genius engineer constantly optimizing performance without you thinking about it. Ferrari created an entirely new 8-speed dual-clutch transmission specifically for the SF90, and here's something remarkable. Despite adding an 8th gear, this transmission is actually 22 pounds lighter than the 7-speed unit it replaces. How did they do it? By removing the reverse gear entirely. You might think that sounds crazy, but it's actually genius. Remember those 2 electric motors on the front axle? They can spin in either direction, which means they can power the front wheels backwards. So instead of needing a heavy reverse gear in the transmission, the SF90 just uses the electric motors to back up. This new transmission also shifts 30% faster than the previous design, completing gear changes in just 200 milliseconds. That's faster than you can blink. And during those lightning-quick shifts, the MGUK motor fills in with electric torque, so you never feel a gap in power delivery. The result is acceleration that feels like one continuous, unrelenting surge of power from 0 all the way to over 200 miles per hour. Ferrari introduced their first ever brake-by-wire system in the SF90, and it's a masterpiece of engineering that you'll never even notice, which is exactly the point. In traditional cars, when you press the brake pedal, hydraulic fluid directly pushes brake pads against rotors. Simple and mechanical. In the SF90, computers manage a complex dance between traditional hydraulic brakes and regenerative braking from the electric motors. When you step on the brake pedal, the system instantly calculates the optimal combination of mechanical and regenerative braking. The electric motors work as generators, slowing the car while capturing energy and storing it in the battery. Meanwhile, the traditional brake system provides additional stopping power and that crucial brake feel that drivers expect. Ferrari's engineers spent enormous effort making sure this system feels completely natural. They programmed in the subtle vibrations you feel through the chassis during hard braking, right before the ABS kicks in. This feedback helps you understand exactly what the car is doing at the limit. The pedal travel is short and responsive, just like in their traditional sports cars. Most drivers would never guess that computers are managing every brake application, seamlessly blending 2 different braking systems into one cohesive experience. And here's the beautiful part. Every time you slow down, you're harvesting energy and putting it back in the battery for the next acceleration. Performance and efficiency working hand in hand. Step inside the SF90 and you're immediately surrounded by a cockpit that feels more like a fighter jet than a traditional car. A massive 16-inch curved high-definition display sits behind the steering wheel, showing you everything from speed and RPM to navigation and battery status. The traditional round tachometer remains because some Ferrari traditions are sacred, but it's now rendered digitally and can change its display based on which driving mode you've selected. Touch-sensitive controls are built directly into the steering wheel, putting every major function right right at your fingertips without forcing you to reach for traditional stalks or buttons. Want to adjust the suspension, change driving modes, activate launch control? Everything is right there on the wheel. A head-up display projects key performance data onto the windshield directly in your line of sight. Speed, gear position, navigation instructions, all floating in your view without requiring you to look down at instruments. This isn't technology for the sake of technology. Every screen, every control, every digital interface is designed with one goal: keeping your attention on the road and on the experience of driving. Despite all this technology, the cabin still feels unmistakably Ferrari. Premium leather everywhere, carbon fiber trim, racing seats that hug you perfectly. The fusion of cutting-edge digital interfaces and traditional Italian craftsmanship creates something that feels both futuristic and familiar. When Car and Driver tested the SF90, they achieved a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of 2.0 seconds. Let me put that in perspective. This car accelerates faster than gravity pulls objects downward. It's faster than any production car they had ever tested at that time. The SF90's performance isn't just about straight-line speed though. It lapped Ferrari's famous Fiorano test circuit in 1 minute and 19 seconds, 7/10 of a second faster than the legendary LaFerrari, which costs far more and was built in much more limited numbers. Think about that for a moment. Ferrari created a car that's faster around their own test track than their previous flagship hypercar, and they did it by embracing hybrid technology rather than fighting against it. The top speed exceeds 211 miles per hour, which means this car could theoretically travel from one end of a football field to the other in under a second. These aren't theoretical numbers from computer simulations. These are real achievements from real testing. For those who believe the standard 986 horsepower isn't quite sufficient, Ferrari introduced the SF90XX Stradale and SF90XX Spider. These track-focused versions push output to 1,016 horsepower, officially breaking into the 4-digit power club. The 20 models feature stripped-down interiors, enhanced aerodynamics, and chassis tuning specifically designed for circuit driving. Unlike Ferrari's previous 20 program cars that were track-only toys, the SF90XX variants are fully road legal. You can drive them to the track, demolish lap records, and drive them home, assuming you have any adrenaline left after the experience. These cars represent the absolute pinnacle of what Ferrari's hybrid technology can achieve when performance is the only consideration. The SF90 Stradale represents something profound in automotive history. It's a bridge between Ferrari's combustion-powered past and its electrified future. Ferrari could have built a purely electric car. They have the technology, but they understand that their customers love the sound, the emotion, and the character of combustion engines. That V8 howl climbing to 8,000 RPM is part of Ferrari's DNA. Instead of replacing that experience, Ferrari enhanced it. The electric motors don't diminish the V8 experience, they multiply it. The instant torque from the motors eliminates turbo lag and fills in power gaps. The all-wheel drive system lets you actually use all that power without spinning helplessly. The regenerative braking keeps the battery charged while you drive hard. This is what happens when a company approaches hybrid technology with performance as the primary goal rather than fuel economy. The SF90 proves that electrification and driving excitement aren't mutually exclusive. They can work together to create something even more thrilling than either could achieve alone. The Ferrari SF90 Stradale isn't a compromise. It's not a transitional vehicle built to satisfy regulations while Ferrari figures out what comes next. It's a fully realized vision of what modern supercars are. By adding 217 electric horsepower exactly when and where the V8 needs help most, Ferrari created a car that accelerates harder, corners faster, and drives more confidently than any naturally aspirated or purely combustion-powered supercar could hope to achieve. The instant torque from the electric motors eliminates the split-second delays that even turbocharged engines can't escape. The all-wheel drive system provides traction that lets you fully explore the car's capabilities on regular roads. The intelligent power management means you can cruise silently through neighborhoods or unleash hell on a racetrack, all with the same car. With 986 horsepower, a 2.5-second 0 to 60 mile per hour time, or 2.0 seconds in real-world testing, and a top speed over 211 miles per hour, the SF90 isn't just fast, it's redefining what fast means. This is Ferrari showing the world that hybrid power isn't the future of compromise, it's the future of performance. And after experiencing what happens when 217 electric horses join forces with a screaming Italian V8, it's hard to imagine going back to combustion combustion alone. The SF90 Stradale proves that sometimes the best way forward isn't choosing between old and new, analog and digital, combustion and electric. Sometimes the best answer is bringing them all together in perfect harmony, and when Ferrari does it, the result is nothing short of extraordinary.